Mission Impossible stands as one of the most vibrant and successful film franchises to date. Tom Cruise's awe-inspiring physical feats have achieved legendary status, while the intricate plots never fail to deliver tons of surprises. While this thrilling saga got its start in 1996, its origins can be traced back even further. In the 1960s, the United States and the Soviet Union found themselves in the midst of the Cold War, which had a big impact on popular culture. This influence was particularly felt in movies and TV shows, where many stories featured secret agents as main characters. On the big screen, James Bond films emerged, propelling Sean Connery to stardom. Meanwhile, on the small screen, noteworthy series like The Avengers and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. captivated audiences. Equally popular were the satirical adventures of Get Smart and the unique blend of espionage and western in The Wild Wild West. Spies had undeniably become a trend, and it was within this wave that the screenwriter and producer, Bruce Geller, found his inspiration. Seeking to set his creation apart from the competition, Geller conceived a team of agents who relied less on sheer force and more on intellect. The focal point would be intricate intrigues rather than extravagant spectacles. The first episode of Mission Impossible aired on September 17, 1966, but it wasn't until the second season that the show truly skyrocketed in popularity. The original team leader, Daniel Briggs, was eventually replaced by Jim Phelps, portrayed by the talented Peter Graves. At the start of each episode, Phelps would discover a magnetic tape containing crucial mission data. As the recording concluded, a voice cryptically declared that the tape would self-destruct in 5 seconds. Phelps would then assemble a carefully chosen team, each member possessing unique skills that complemented one another in their battle against adversaries. Running until 1973, Mission Impossible emerged as one of the most triumphant series of its era, garnering high acclaim from both viewers and the press alike. Its meticulous production design, intelligent scripts, captivating cast, and the brilliant musical compositions of Argentinian composer Lalo Schifrin all received well-deserved praise. Notably, the show's theme music became iconic, going beyond the TV show itself. As Mission Impossible attracted an ever-growing fan base through reruns, Paramount Pictures executives grew increasingly enthusiastic. They held the rights to the series and saw the potential to turn it into a movie. In the 1980s, Hollywood realized the potential for success in adapting beloved TV series from the past. Leading the charge was Star Trek, which not only reunited the original cast, but also spawned a series of successful sequels. Another notable example was Twilight Zone, the movie, produced with the creative genius of Steven Spielberg. It wasn't long before other remarkable films in this genre followed suit. In 1987, The Untouchables broke box office records and sent Sean Connery to an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. However, it was the release of The Fugitive in 1993 that truly made waves, earning a coveted Best Picture nomination at the Oscars. The talented Tommy Lee Jones took home the award for Best Supporting Actor, further consolidating the film's success. Eager to capitalize on this boom, Paramount executives set their sights on adapting Mission Impossible. They commissioned several treatments, but none of them turned out to be a good fit. Then, Tom Cruise entered the scene. By the early 90s, Tom Cruise had solidified his status as one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Known for his ability to deliver crowd-pleasing films, Cruise also had a desire for personal growth as an actor. This propelled him to collaborate with esteemed directors like Martin Scorsese and Oliver Stone. It was during this time that Cruise set his sights on a specific role beyond acting, that of a producer. Joining forces with his agent Paula Wagner, Cruise established Cruise Wagner Productions. The first film from Cruise Wagner Productions would be none other than Mission Impossible. As a fan of the original series, Cruise was determined to create a cinematic adaptation that would captivate audiences and reflect the spirit of the times. After reaching an agreement with Paramount, he and Wagner embarked on the ambitious project. The budget for the film was set to range between $40 and $50 million, with Cruise not only serving as a producer, but also assuming the lead role. To fill the director's position, Cruise wanted the talents of Sidney Pollack, with whom he had previously collaborated on the theater film The Firm. As for the screenplay, the creative duo of Gloria Katz and Willard Huyck, known for their work on George Lucas's American Graffiti and Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, were entrusted with the task of crafting the script. During the search for an engaging story, Cruise found himself attending a dinner where he crossed paths with Steven Spielberg. It was at this gathering that he was introduced to Brian De Palma. Born in 1940, De Palma had made a name for himself as one of the directors who had breathed new life into Hollywood during the late 60s and early 70s. While his contemporaries and friends like Lucas, Scorsese, and Spielberg ventured into various genres, De Palma primarily delved into suspenseful thrillers with a touch of horror. Films like Sisters, Dressed to Kill, and Blowout showcased his thematic obsessions with voyeurism and characters leading double lives. His visual prowess and thematic similarities often drew comparisons to the legendary Alfred Hitchcock. However, De Palma also explored diverse styles, styles, directing movies such as Carrie, Scarface, Casualties of War, and The Bonfire of the Vanities. In 1993, Brian De Palma found himself in a career slump. His latest film, Carlito's Way, had underperformed at the box office. In an effort to turn his luck around, he enlisted the services of a new agent, Mike Ovitz. It was Ovitz who presented him with the opportunity that could change everything: Mission Impossible. De Palma had been aware of the project since his encounter with Cruise and had expressed his interest in being involved. When he learned that Sidney Pollack had stepped down to direct a new version of Sabrina, De Palma made every effort to secure the position. Having thoroughly immersed himself in De Palma's filmography, Cruise gave his seal of approval. Paramount, having previously collaborated with the director on The Untouchables, had no objections either. From the moment De Palma joined the project, he had a clear vision. He discarded the script written by Katz and Huyck, finding it too ironic and confined to the United States alone. The director aimed to create a more serious and mature film while still retaining its commercial appeal. He also proposed shifting the action to Europe, introducing an additional layer to the spy narrative. De Palma had a special fascination with filming in Prague, a city that was rarely featured in Hollywood productions. Both Cruise and Paramount embraced these ideas, recognizing their potential to elevate the film. The next crucial step was to develop the script. Brian De Palma teamed up with Steven Zaillian, fresh off his Oscar win for Schindler's List, to shape the base story. Initially, the director envisioned starting the film with Ethan Hunt, portrayed by Cruise, assembling his team of international spies. However, they encountered a dilemma. On one hand, this sequence would delay the mission's commencement. On the other hand, it would result in too many main characters, which presented a challenge since Cruise needed to be the main star. It was then that De Palma proposed a radical change. Most of the team would be eliminated within the first few minutes. This would lead Agent Hunt to be wrongfully accused of murder, forcing himself to prove his innocence, form a new team, and apprehend the true culprit. Cruise enthusiastically embraced this concept. To enrich the story further, De Palma drew inspiration from the studies of anthropologist Joseph Campbell, who had been his professor at Sarah Lawrence College. The outline created by De Palma and Zaillian was handed over to screenwriter David Koepp. As the script took shape, De Palma took on the responsibility of envisioning and designing the action sequences, such as Hunt's daring theft from the CIA headquarters and the climactic train and helicopter chase. For the filmmaker, the final script had to serve as a platform for these gripping set pieces. However, the first draft by Koepp left Cruise dissatisfied with the character development. Consequently, he reached out to veteran writer Robert Towne to address this concern. While De Palma agreed to involve Towne, he voiced his opposition when the writer proposed changing the ending. Towne envisioned the film concluding with a conversation between the hero and villain in a baggage room. De Palma found this idea lacking cinematic appeal and inconsistent with the film's overall tone, insisting on maintaining the helicopter and train sequences. Cruise sided with the director's perspective. Even without a completed script, De Palma and Cruise commenced casting. They sought to assemble an international ensemble of stars. Kristen Scott Thomas and Emilio Estevez were selected for the first team, while Jean Reno and Ving Rhames joined the second team. Jon Voight would portray Jim Phelps, initially a leader like in the series, whom at some point seems to have died but ultimately reveals himself as the primary villain. Emmanuelle Bear would portray Claire, Phelps's wife and a romantic interest for Hunt. Additionally, Vanessa Redgrave, suggested by Cruise, was considered for the role of Max, originally intended for a male character. When filming for Mission Impossible began in February 1995, there was still no definitive script. Brian De Palma found himself in the middle of a challenging situation, mediating between David Koepp and Robert Towne, who were rewriting each other's material from separate hotel rooms. Despite this complex dynamic, the director remained focused on the filming process. Tom Cruise, equally determined and committed, used his status as a prominent celebrity and producer to secure additional resources for the project. Firstly, he successfully obtained increased funding from Paramount. Furthermore, although the production team was unable to secure the Eurostar train service, Cruise managed to secure a French high-speed train as a suitable alternative. In terms of acting, no role had demanded as much physicality from Cruise, and he prepared himself to face each challenge. His commitment and patience were crucial in executing demanding sequences, such as the wire suspension during the heist and the climactic scene atop the train. However, none of the sequences proved to be as complex and challenging as the restaurant scene, where Hunt detonates the aquarium and barely escapes being overrun by a wave. Initially, De Palma shot a take with the stunt double, but upon reviewing the footage, he realized it didn't have the desired impact. He approached Cruise and asked him to perform the scene himself. De Palma meticulously explained his vision and showed Cruise the vision he had captured with the double. Recognizing the importance of capturing the authenticity of the moment, Cruise agreed to take on the challenge. However, just before filming the scene, he expressed his concerns to De Palma, reminding the the director that he was primarily an actor. De Palma reassured Cruise and ensured that everything proceeded smoothly, allowing them to successfully capture the thrilling sequence. While De Palma initially believed in the chemistry between Cruise and Emmanuel Baird during auditions, the love story between their characters didn't quite translate as expected during filming. The director ultimately decided to cut back on that subplot, although some remnants of it survived in one of the trailers. Unfortunately, Baird felt uncomfortable with the experience, and subsequently did not pursue further work in Hollywood films. Despite the complexities and challenges faced during filming, Mission Impossible was completed ahead of schedule and under budget. The next step was post-production, where the complicated digital special effects were entrusted to Industrial Light and Magic, or ILM, a company founded by George Lucas. An essential aspect that required attention during post-production was the film's soundtrack. Alan Silvestri was initially hired to modernize Lalo Schifrin's iconic work and compose new material. However, De Palma and Silvestri did not share a creative understanding, and the director found the initial score to be too melodious and excessive. The lack of collaboration and receptiveness to the director's suggestions led to the decision to part ways with Silvestri. Without wasting any time, De Palma swiftly reached out to Danny Elfman, with whom he found perfect chemistry and creative alignment. Additionally, a cover of the famous opening theme from the series was recorded by Larry Mullen Jr. and Adam Clayton from the band U2. Mission Impossible was released on May 22, 1996, and initial reviews were less than favorable, particularly targeting the script, which critics found confusing. Fans of the original series were also taken aback by the changes, particularly the portrayal of Jim Phelps. However, despite the mixed reception, the film managed to find a new and enthusiastic audience. With a production cost of around $80 million, it went on to gross an impressive $457 million worldwide. The success of Mission Impossible proved to be a turning point for Brian De Palma, as it helped him regain respect and standing in Hollywood. Paramount, recognizing the impact of the film's success, agreed to finance his next project, the thrilling Snake Eyes, which he had written in collaboration with David Koepp. However, it was Tom Cruise who benefited the most from the film's success. Mission Impossible served as a launching pad for his career as a producer. From that point forward, Cruise began investing in both big-budget productions and smaller-scale films, such as The Others. His position in Hollywood skyrocketed, establishing him as one of the most influential and powerful figures in the industry. In addition to taking on various projects, Tom Cruise remained dedicated to the Mission Impossible franchise, which evolved into a series known for its high-octane action and intriguing plotlines. Each installment contributed to the franchise's own mythology, allowing different filmmakers to bring their unique touch to the films. John Woo directed Mission Impossible 2, infusing it with his signature style. J.J. Abrams made his directorial debut with Mission Impossible 3, subsequently continuing his involvement in the franchise as a producer. Brad Bird, known for his success in animation, ventured into live action with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, adding his distinctive vision. Christopher McQuarrie took the helm for both Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and Mission Impossible Fallout, delivering thrilling and immersive experiences. In each case, Cruise pushed the boundaries and surpassed himself in performing daring stunts that left audiences in awe. While the first Mission Impossible film adapted a classic television series, it also paved the way for the birth of its own successful cinematic series. Tom Cruise's relentless commitment to the role, along with the collaboration of talented directors, propelled its growth. Fortunately for fans, the Mission Impossible series did not self-destruct in 5 seconds. Instead, it continues to captivate and thrill audiences with each new installment.